Okay, let's learn about Durgans. Let's learn about Durgans, y'all. Okay, I'm turning on the thing. I'm turning off my music thing. We're learning about Durgans. Okay, so the plan for today, everybody, because it's winter season, we are going to learn about some of the most wintry of beings in the D&D universe this month. And afterwards, we're going to sit down and we're going to doodle some winter-themed creatures and stuff for D&D. So, I don't know if we'll draw a winter dragon. I don't know if we'll draw something that's themed around a winter dragon, but like a character or something like that. But we're going to be drawing something to do with a winter dragon. So, let's find out. And just want to make sure that, yeah, video time, that's got its own thing. Okay, we're good. Let's watch.
White dragons, also called ice dragons or glacial worms, have a reputation as dull, stupid creatures. They are the smallest and weakest of the evil dragons, though even if slow-witted, they are terribly efficient hunters. In fact, they are the best hunters amongst all of dragonkind, and of course as greedy and evil as the other chromatic dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons lore. If you guys have not looked into it, Mr. Rex, I do have a link to the video, by the way, and the pinned comment. Mr. Rex is one of the best places to go for D&D style lore, or like, I'm pretty sure he does primarily just D&D, but he does a great job on breaking down like the information of dragons based on like not just like their stats, but like their actual ecology, like what the dragons are all about, how they live, how they work, how they just function. And it's a really good way to, figure out what, how to take that creature and put it into your world, or make a couple changes if you need to in order to make things fit your world a little better, but have like a basis to go off of. It makes life easy for world building.
White dragons have a sleek profile, a sharp beak at the nose, and a pointed chin.
So, I'm going to be pausing a lot, okay? If you don't like me pausing, so that's tough cookies. Slowly gets out notebook. Get your notebook out. We're going to do some world building stuff today. So, I've always really liked the design of the white dragon. It's not my favorite of the dragon designs. You probably will never guess what my favorite one is, because it's probably one of the goofier looking dragons. However, I've always just loved the design. It looks very like shark-like almost, with the big fin along the back, very sleek pointed features and all that. Like a shark mixed with a bird. I've loved it. What do these say? Let me zoom in here. Crest supported by a single curving spine, overlapping triangular scales, among the smallest and least intelligent of dragonkind. So, quick little aside: a baby dragon, fresh out of the egg, within a couple days, usually already knows how to talk better than, the smartest humans on the planet. Okay, so dragons are smart. This might be the stupidest one, but he's still, way smarter than you're ever going to be. Unless you're a wizard, maybe. Unless you're a wizard.
Their face exudes an aura of ferocity and bestial wrath, rather than one of cunning and intellect.
I don't know about that one 100%. Like, I would probably say the blue dragon, the red dragon, and let's see. This guy doesn't really give me a bestial wrath kind of look. If I were to see that, I'd probably think like more of a stocky, powerful build or something like that, or more mastiff or lion looking, if I were to go that direction. Like, think of the more like violent mammals or creatures on the planet. They don't look sleek and pointed or angular. They look like almost rounded, squared, or uh lumpy, I guess is a good word. Yeah. Yeah.
Intellect. Their claws are serrated and meant for ice climbing. Their eyes have multiple membranes meant to protect them against the sharp brightness of the seas of snow where they lair. Their bodies are mostly white with scales of pale blue and light gray mixed in to camouflage them in the snow and in the cloudy sky. They are primal and vengeful. They lack the cunning and tactics of most dragons, though they make it up by their bestial nature, singularly focused on surviving and slaughtering their enemies. They only consume food that has been frozen, devouring creatures killed by its breath weapon while they're still stiff and frigid. So
I don't know. I prefer a nice toasty meal. Cold drinks though. I will get fucked up with an ice cold drink. That's where it's at. That's where it's at.
of those frozen by their breath will be regarded as treasures by the dragon if the battle was intense enough. Even though they are only moderately intelligent, they have extraordinary memories. They recall every slight and every defeat, and have
This is a very beautiful picture. My only critique probably would be this jaw looks like it's almost broken and hinged forward. Very beautiful. Good job, Jason Engel. Oh, that's another thing I really appreciate with with Mr. X. He credits every artist in his videos. Like, art is by this person, and he will take art. He will find art from every skill level. Sorry, my ring light just fell. I was going to say what sound effect was that. It was a sound of light hitting the ground. Sure, big explosion. Sorry, fixed it. But what was I saying? I can't remember. On with the video.
been known to conduct malicious vendettas against creatures that have offended them. They are lone wolves. They avoid all other dragons except for other whites of the opposite sex for the purposes of mating. They attack creatures.
You and me are gonna make the baby.
Without provocation, and they rarely have slaves or servants, only those who can withstand constant losses by the dragon.
Dude always mentions artists and gets images from all skill levels. And then the lights fell. Whoops. Oh wait, shit. I know damn well what's going on in this video. Or in this picture. This is actually a fan drawn piece for Critical Role. If anyone has watched the original season, like the original Critical Role series, which I did, it was very fun. It got me really invested in the Critical Role world. I've fallen off since last season, I think. Yeah, it was last season that I started falling off. And I haven't even had a chance to try to catch up on the fourth season yet, which sucks. Also, I'm talking about the live play. But this is when they were going after Vorgal, the white dragon. Okay? But yeah, you can see up here we got Vax, Grog, Keyleth, and here's the Galistro Yank. And I believe that's Scanlan summoning it. We got Vex down here. I'm not seeing Pike. Oh, wait, is that Pike right there? Yeah, that's Pike, I think. Oh, no, that's Percy. That's Percy up in his little roost. Oh, yeah. Okay, back to it.
Sex for the purposes of mating. They attack creatures without provocation, and they rarely have slaves or servants. Only those who can withstand constant losses by the dragon ever get to serve a white dragon. Creatures like kobolds who constantly sacrifice themselves to the dragon in order to serve it. The only ones who can gain...
So, it's like, no, I don't want servants. What? Why not? We want to serve you, Dark Dragon Lord. Because you're annoying. I just want to do the job myself. Fuck off. A T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, it wants to hunt.
The obedience of a white dragon are those who show great strength in defeating it, who can bend it to their will. Creatures like powerful frost giants who tame them by beating them.
Wait,
Sorry. Just to finish my original thought. There's Pikey. There's Pikey.
Them. White dragons love the cold.
look at this dopey face. Like, huh? This one shows off the stupidity of the white dragon perfectly. I love it.
Frost giants who tame them by beating them. White dragons love the cold sparkle of eyes and favor treasures that share a similar quality. Treasures like diamonds. That being said, typically you will find a lot of ivory and well-bound sculptures in their lair, since that's what you would find far north.
You know what? Based. Have you guys ever really looked at a open frozen lake in the middle of the day, where with no clouds in the sky or anything, sun beating down, and just making the ice and snow shimmer like it literally looks like diamonds in the right situation? It's so pretty. It is very pretty. It is the prettiest thing that Mother Nature has created sometimes. Is it 100% the prettiest? Probably not, but it is extremely gorgeous. A good winter scene is very pretty. Too bad they don't happen very often.
White dragons keep their treasure chests encased in ice, and they spread their loose coins all across their cave to form bright, starry layers. Because the white dragon has flawless memory, it remembers how it got every single coin in its lair. They are also notoriously difficult to bribe, since any offer of treasure is seen as an insult to their ability to simply slay the creature making the offer and take the treasure on their own.
Mr. White Dragon, would you please take this offering of gold to spare us this winter? What's stopping me from just beating the shit out of you and just taking it anyway? And more. That's kind of a stupid offering, don't you think? Here, tell you what. Send me your strongest fighter, and if he can last more than 5 minutes, I will spare your entire village. How about that?
Now, everything that I just talked about, except for the few details about their physical body, like their serrated claws and their eye membranes, are what the Monster Manual tells us about white dragons. But as expected, there's also a lot of stuff that the developers of the Monster Manual didn't really have the space to put in. I mean, after all, Dungeons & Dragons have released tons and tons of books on dragons, on their behavior and on their habits, and they couldn't possibly put it all in here. There just isn't enough space. But hey, that's what we're here for, so let's go ahead and break down everything about white dragons that is not found in the Monster Manual.
And he means everything.
The biggest thing to understand in order to truly get the white dragon is their animal behavior.
Bro, do not the dragon. Do not.
But more specifically is why they have this animal behavior. I want to cover this first because everything about this creature comes from this one factor, and that is the abilities and disadvantages of their brain. The Monster Manual says that white dragons have excellent memories, that they remember every slight.
Wow, ever since 1st and 2nd edition, they've always had this fin up here. Huh, crazy. Because some of the dragons have actually changed a lot throughout the generations. Like Gold Dragon actually used to look more like an Eastern style dragon. They've kept a lot of the looks of it from 1st to all the way up to 5th, having more of a big long serpentine body and all that. But this one pretty much just stayed the same. Huh.
Ever done to them, and that much is true. The white dragon has legendary recollection when it comes to events that have transpired. It'll remember faces with perfect clarity. It'll remember transactions and deals. It'll remember locations and conversations. I mean, it has the ability to remember where every single coin came from in its hoard, and that's pretty huge.
That is horrifying as well. Can you imagine a battle tactician that has perfect memory of everything happening that they have actual witness to? That'd be horrifying. right in the middle of of battle, they know exactly where you are, where you were, and they can probably piece together, okay, they were moving in that direction 5 seconds ago based on like how fast they've been going this entire fight, because they're battle hardened monsters. All their intelligence probably goes straight towards, fighting and hunting. Based on how fast this thing has been moving up until this point, it is probably there. Smash the rogue right in the head. Just by guessing.
This power of recollection, however, only works for physical interactions that the dragon has done. The white dragon's brain does not truly understand much of anything that is an abstract concept, or remember it either.
It's the Tism Dragon. It is straight up the Tism Dragon.
The one exception to this rule, of course, are feelings of offense and feelings of vengeance, which the dragon will remember forever, as we're told. But there are many things that White Dragon's brain will simply just not understand. Things like civility, tradition, math, innovation, creativity, experimentation, education, art, storytelling, humor, influencing people, how to do that. The White Dragon's brain is in many ways advanced, but in many other ways just completely stunted. And it possesses a complete inability to truly understand those concepts. Again, basically everything that would be considered an abstract idea, the White Dragon will just not get. The general
So, basically, if it does not matter to survival or its now and right here, it does not matter. It will not matter. It has no care for it, and it does not care. Yep. But think of the village children. What village children? I don't care about that. I don't see them. They don't exist.
intellect of an adult and ancient white dragon is equivalent to that of a human, but a human without any form of study or training, because a white dragon doesn't have any form of study or training. Hence, for the most part, the intellect of a medieval peasant might be more appropriate for an older white dragon. It's funny because other dragons actually consider the white dragon as the thug of dragonkind for this one reason. Okay, so see, if a white dragon is flying over a frozen ridge and spots a small group of moose, it might decide to spear down and eat them. In the future, the dragon will remember where the hunt happened. It'll remember how many moose it saw and how many it ate. But it will not remember whether he was hungry before eating them or whether 3 moose satisfied his hunger. He will not remember if the hunt was hard.
That's interesting. I mean, I would assume that he would actually remember, like, how many moose it would have been that sated his hunger. Like, he remembers, like, a white dragon can remember where that he got every, or like the story behind every single itty bitty coin, not just gold piece, coin in their treasure hoard, right? So why wouldn't they be able to understand, like, it took 6 moose to sate me last time I was hunting in this area. 6 moose should do. Interesting.
Or easy, or how much physical effort he went through. He will simply remember the hard facts of what was in front of him at the time of the hunt. Literally just what he saw. Because of its lack of understanding in the abstract field, the dragon would be a terrible...
Maybe they only remember things that matter to them. Yeah, that might be it. And yeah, like you said, only what they saw, not what they felt. What they saw and learned in that situation. Okay.
Storyteller if he wanted to relay what he saw. He wouldn't be able to understand his own actions or why he took them. Neither would he be able to insight why his enemies did what they did. He doesn't experiment and does not perform any form of creative attack. He just does what he does because he does it.
So based on this, I would say that the white dragon would have an absolutely amazing intelligence stat, but absolutely jack all for a wisdom stat. Absolutely nothing, because he has no insight, he has no recollection or understanding of things. But his intelligence, like, he would have, like, it's an interesting way to look at it, though, right? Because intelligence is your understanding of how to learn and how to process information you've been given. wisdom is the ability to actually like understand how well, wisdom is your ability to understand like the effects of your knowledge, kind of like book smarts versus street smarts. You could learn all about these mushrooms on the ground, but without the actual understanding of how to physically identify those mushrooms, it's not going to come to you. So it's like he has all the book smarts, but he has none of the actual practical smarts. Interesting.
A truly, purely instinctual creature. The dragon is also a terrible liar and the worst at trying to influence someone else. It just does not understand how other minds work in that way and wouldn't know what to say in order to get the necessary response it would desire from others. Once you understand this, you will truly be able to understand the white dragon, and everything that I will say from now on will have strong roots to this predicament that they possess.
Also, I'm just looking at this picture, guys. These imps are like pulling chunks of metal that have been nailed into the dragon. Like, look at this guy up here. He's literally pulling a spike out from underneath the dragon's eye. This guy is pulling a plate off that's been like just hammered into his hide. This poor thing. He is probably so pissed. So pissed. Let me back up.
Everything that I will say from now on will have strong roots to this predicament that they possess. Let's do an example. As animalistic hunters, white dragons have very little preference when it comes to types of prey. They will honestly eat anything that is presented to them, and they will typically go for the most convenient meal worth their hunting efforts. If they spot a farm, they will go for the cattle instead of the farmers. This is not because he
reminds me of Jindad from Monster Hunter, just not as long. Jindad. Give me a moment. Need to take a peeksies at that one. Jindad. Oh yeah, the big iguana. Yeah. I like that monster. Granted, I'm also a dual blade user, so that explains why I would like that fight. That fight is made for dual blades. But yeah, shit, I had a thought.
He thinks that the farmers might hurt it.
Right, that one. So yeah, that's actually a very important fact for that a lot of DMs and people don't fully understand, is that probably the biggest if you're going to do a wildlife encounter in D&D, most people will be like, oh, I'm going to throw like 3 mountain lions at this situation. Motherfucker, why do you think a mountain lion would go after humans? Unless they are desperate, they are not going to just jump your caravan. That sounds stupid. Because here's the thing. When a predator hunts, they will always go for the weakest link in an entire fight. Reason being, a hurt predator is dead. If they get slightly injured in any way, shape, or form, they're dead because they can no longer hunt and they can only eat meat. Whereas a hurt herbivore is still alive. They can still survive because they're not hunting. They just need to eat green, right? If an herbivore feels threatened, if they don't fight, they die. If they run, they have a chance to die. So therefore, they will fuck your day up before any predator will actually go and fuck your day up, okay? So keep that in mind next time you're running like some wildlife encounters of some sort. Have a bear or a lion show up and stalk the party, waiting for them to do something like stupid, or let the party just completely evade them because they're not actually being hunted because they're healthy, they're strong, they're moving. Lion's going to look at that being like, fuck that shit, I'll just go after that deer I saw over there. it looked a little lame. Or if the animal is diseased, correct. Because, you know, it's weak. It might not be good for the lion in the long run, but like the white dragon, they don't fucking care about that. They're just thinking, easy meal. But then they run into a moose. They just run into a fucking moose. And the moose just looks at them. And is like, I have a child not too far from here. You look like danger. I'm gonna wreck your shit. Yes, a mountain lion with rabies or some illness could attack even though they would lose. Because they're already... With rabies, I mean, that's just part of the rabies condition. They become extremely violent.
Or because if you kill the farmers, then there will be no more farm in the future. When he eats the cattle, he doesn't just eat all the farmers. This is not because he thinks that the farmers might hurt it, or because if you kill the farmers, then there will be no more farm in the future. When he eats the cattle, he doesn't just eat a few to make sure that there are cattle in the future, or to make sure that the farm continues going so that he can then snack later. No, none of these things are going in the head of the dragon. The cattle are easy prey. Not a lot of effort to hunt, and they have a lot of meat, so the dragon eats it, and that's it. That's all that goes through the dragon's head. For the farmer, they're actually stuck in a very truly awful place because there isn't really much that one can do to stop a white dragon from eating your cattle.
Jebediah? Yeah, honey? The white dragon's back. That's nice, honey. Can we not, bargain with it? No, we can't, honey. Why not? It's gonna eat me, honey. It took our cattle. That's shitty, honey. Jebediah? Yes, honey. Why the fuck do we move here? I have no idea, honey.
If offered a strong bribe, or if you perform a strong show of force, that might actually stop the dragon momentarily, but the dragon will always come back. Once again, the dragon does not remember very well most abstract ideas. The concept of, oh, if I don't eat those cattle, then I will get paid, does not really compute well in the white dragon's brain. That's a promise, and a promise is fairly abstract. The idea that a human might get angry if the dragon broke this promise is bizarre in its head. It truly has no idea what the human will do when the dragon does something, and most of the time the dragon just doesn't care. Hell, even the monster manual explains that the white dragon will eat his own servants constantly, and that's just the way that the creature is, especially when you realize that the
white dragon laying down in its cavern, just kind of chilling. Oh, a tasty snack just walked by, grabs a kobold, throws it into his mouth. The rest of the kobolds are like, guys, why didn't we introduce ourselves to the master this morning? Who forgot to do that? Who forgot to introduce ourselves to the master? Wah! Hi, Dragoon.
Dragon constantly
Oh, Dragoon, we're dealing with dragon stuff today. Hi.
Attacks things that are stronger than he is, specifically because the concept of fear and being smart about these things simply do not enter the white dragon's head. So even a strong show of force typically will not keep this dragon away. The white dragon also has no concept of population control. It will kill and devour and eat.
Oh, I apologize. There we go. The artist credit wasn't there. More dragons. Woo! Beautiful picture, Todd Lockwood. I'm sorry, I can't. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs, brain rot.
And slay until there is no more food left in the area, at which point it will simply move to a new zone to hunt. Let us use another example. Sex. White dragons are actually prone to carnal
You and me are gonna make the baby.
pleasures, and they often mate simply for the fun of it. They have no interest in fathering children, neither do they care about the progression of their species.
They're drunk college students, guys.
Find white dragons of the opposite sex and they bang it out just for fun. If they end up having children, then so be it, but that's never their intent. In fact, white dragons are the worst parents out of all of true dragonkind. Out of sheer instinct, they will lay their eggs close to their lair, but they will never truly protect those eggs. Their eggs are generally protected merely by the fact that the dragon tends to relax close to them, but they share no particular, parental instinct towards them, and it might simply regard their eggs as merely just another possession of them that has to be defended like one of their simple gold coins. When the babies hatch, the parents will each go their separate ways, and their babies will either go with the dad or go with the mom, but the parents will not protect them and will not care for them. The babies are expected to care for themselves. The white dragon will accept for the baby to follow it for the next couple of decades, but typically it'll be pushed out before it hits maturity, because that's when they will start to be considered a rival, and when that happens, no concept of family will keep them from killing each other and eating one another. In fact,
Okay, Ralphie, time to get your ass out of the house. Oh, why, Dad? Because you're about 20 pounds now. Thus, your food. Get out of the house. This is the last bit of kindness I'm giving you. Get your ass out. But we're bubbles.
In fact, there are recorded events of a young adult white dragon killing its parents just to take his hoard, before it even made it to maturity. The fact that the white dragon has not gone extinct is actually quite miraculous. See, white dragons actually don't need to live in Arctic climates. There are many white dragons that live in cold forests and just normal chilly regions. Also, many of them that simply live in normal tall mountains. And the reason they live in the far north cold climates is because they do prefer it, but not necessarily because they truly have to. The problem with the ones that don't live in Arctic climates is that, well, they just die. White dragons are good hunters. They will always find food when they need to, but they are dumb, and their bright white color sells them out in non-Arctic climates. The heat also makes them sluggish and slow, which makes them easier targets. White dragons also have no concept of picking their targets, and many of them will try and attack fortified humanoid settlements and will simply get wrecked.
This is Skyrim fan art, I know, yes. But also, there's one other thing. White dragons physically are not the strongest, the smartest, or the wisest of all the dragons. If I actually were to look at the stat blocks, you know what? I'm going to do that really quick. The brass dragon, okay? They're closer to being animalistic, right? Compared to the red or gold. Oh, yes, they're very much more comparatively animalistic. But let's compare the brass dragon to the white dragon, okay? Okay, so if I do this, thankfully these two dragons are safe. They are part of the SRD, I'm pretty sure, so we can take a peek at these. So if we look at the ancient brass dragon, we are at challenge rating 20, and the ancient white dragon, challenge rating 20, equivalent. But also, look at the size of the page. So this is roughly the top and bottom of the white dragon stat block. Let's add the brass dragon. It almost doubles in size. Okay, it almost doubles in size. And that's mostly because the brass dragon has a few extra little tits, like abilities and that sort of thing. So strength 27, strength 26. Oh, the white dragon's 1 point weaker than the brass dragon. Interesting. Dexterity 10 on the white dragon. Okay, we're still at 10. Cool. Constitution 25. Oh, the white dragon has more constitution. We got that. Intelligence 10. Intelligence 16. Problem. Wisdom 15. Wisdom 14. Another problem. Charisma 14. Charisma 19. Ooh, geez. So the only place that the ancient white dragon beats the ancient brass dragon, which once again, the brass dragon on the chromatic side is the weakest of the chromatic dragons. The only place it beats them is Constitution. And all that does is bring them from 297 hit points to 333, which is, pretty decent. Actually, 18d20 versus 17d20. Oh, they have one extra hit dice too. Okay, they got one extra hit dice. So, it's like, that's the problem, isn't it? That's a little bit of a problem here. What about the weakest gem dragon? That's a good question. I don't think I can show that here just because that's not part of the SRD. Like the the free access for a lot of people thing. And D&D is very, very picky about that sort of shit. Yeah, CR20. That's probably it. Okay, so strength is 23. Okay, that's considerably... Well, let me take a peek at the ancient white dragon. Okay, so strength 23. Yep, the gem dragon is weaker than the white dragon. Dex is 12. It's more dexterous. Con 23. Less... Okay, so their physical stats are a little on the lower side. There's a duck. Yes, we have a duck. However, intelligence and charisma are both up to 20, and wisdom is at 19. So where the Topaz Dragon has a little less physical stats, it more than makes up for it in the mental stats, and being, oh, they're a spellcaster. That also helps. Yeah, so once again, Gem Dragon, I think, edges out the White Dragon. Which I think sucks. They should actually, take into consideration, the actual... Looks like Ancient Emerald is the weakest, really? At challenge rating 18? Ancient Emerald. Interesting. Okay, let me take a peek at that. CR is their challenge rating. So it's an abstract view, but you can usually tell, where a creature kind of stands in comparison to others based off of their challenge rating in the books. Challenge rating, the original assumption is 4 adventurers of this level would be a even match for this creature. However, once you get past level 10, challenge rating means means nothing. It's garbage. Actually, as soon as you once you bypass level 5, challenge rating doesn't really mean much. Oh, 1. Challenge rating 1, you can actually get away with screwing things over. I've seen a group of 4 level 1s take on a challenge rating 5 creature and win. Okay? It really all depends on situations and who gets better rolls at some points. They should have made white dragons physically, their strength and constitution, the highest out of all the dragons. Bar none. Physically stronger than red dragons, physically stronger than gold dragons, every dragon. Just physically the strongest. But just make it so that their mental faculties are shit. Their breath weapon is dangerous, but nowhere near as dangerous as being bit or slapped by one of these guys. Because, that's kind of their whole shtick, is just being the bulldog of dragons. I think I know what we're drawing after this. Alright.
Fight humanoid settlements and will simply get wrecked. They are also the weakest of all dragons, so any other dragon will kill them if they see them. They survive so well in the far north because, well, to be frank, no one else wants to be there.
Yeah, that's the other thing, they live up in the winter areas. How many other, cold-based dragons do you know of? There's not many. The only ones that would probably want to live up that direction would be a red dragon or a gold dragon. And at that point, the white dragon would be like, fine. I'm taking my shit and going. Meh. Rude.
There are many recorded cases of white dragon skeletons in non-Arctic climates, but seemingly they all died off. And that's why you just don't find them there anymore. In fact, the only reason why white dragons don't run out of food nowadays is because they have evolved to hibernate for as long as they're active. So if a white dragon is active for 5 years, it'll then hibernate for another 5 years. And some of the older white dragons can be active for as long as 20 years, but then of course will go and hibernate for 20 years as well. And they have evolved to have such a long hibernation process to allow for nature to replenish itself after the gorging of the dragon during its active times. Otherwise, this creature would be long extinct. They would have just run out of food a long time ago. They also have evolved to produce many eggs when they do happen to father.
They wake up, they go outside, they shake off the snow and the ice, and then they go on a murder spree. They destroy everything. And when they're like, shit, where's all the food? I haven't seen a moose in like a day and a half. Have a Zoom meeting and I didn't set up in 15. Oh no, you should probably work on that. Shit. Oh. There's no moose. Well, time to go to bed. And they just lay down in bed. They were hunting for a good 5 years. Everyone was in terror for the last 5 years, and then suddenly, yay, peace and prosperity for... Well, they were probably panicking for an extra year after that. They're like, I think he's gone. Do you think something killed it? We're saved! We're saved! Everyone celebrate! Yay! And then 5 years later, okay, I'm up. Where's the next moose? Shit!
Children, though only about a third of the babies ever survive because of the terrible parenting of the white dragon. White dragons are particularly resistant to blindness that comes from bright lights. This is because of the extra layers of membranes that reside in their eyes. See, because of the location of where the dragon layers, which is the snowy biome, many creatures in this type of biome suffer what is called snow blindness. The snow reflects a large amount of UV rays back up right into the eyes of the creatures walking on said snow, which can cause burning of the cornea and subsequent painful momentary blindness.
Basically, snow blindness sucks. And you have, like, oh my god, if you guys don't do haven't done winter driving before, it is rough sometimes. Like, even if there's no snow on the ground, because of, like, if there's no clouds in the sky and it's a nice bright winter day, that sun, for some strange ass fucking reason, is so goddamn bright. And because the snow was just on the blacktop of the highways or something like that, it makes it all glassy and shiny, and it bounces that shit right back up into your eyes. You look over at a field and it's just bouncing that light straight back up into your eyes. It sucks, but it's very pretty. Like, look at this picture. Look at this fucking picture. Tell me that's not beautiful.
No, which can cause burning of the cornea and subsequent painful momentary blindness. White dragons are immune to this, and they evolve to have these membranes because of this, which is actually the reason.
Looks like those suntan goggles. Yep. Well, yeah, because they're meant to, prevent as much light coming into your face as possible. My eyes! Flashbang.
Why they love so much shiny and so much glittering inside of their layers, because they're completely immune to this form of effect. In fact, they don't only like diamonds as treasure, they also prefer glass and anything that shines and bounces off light like it does, like polished silvers or polished mirrors.
Dragon going through the wreckage of a village after he's completely decimated. Ooh, piece of shiny. Picks up a broken piece of glass. Yay, shiny. They know it bothers us, so it's a means of defense. Yep.
In fact, anything that has mirrors, they actually love. Also, the reason of why they freeze their treasures in layers upon layers of transparent...
Holy crap, that would be such an interesting, like, mechanic in a white dragon lair. Like, the white dragon doesn't even know that this is something in this lair because it's immune to the effect. immunity to blindness, but like having a whole bunch of light-based traps just all over the damn place. You walk around a corner and you have like a light spell or something like that, and it just reflects the light all over the damn place, and you are like temporarily blinded because of, how bright it's becoming. You can't use a light spell inside a dragon cave. You need to use like a torch light or something that's muted, dim light. That would be cool. That would be really rough.
Eyes inside of their lair is not only to protect the treasure, but to magnify it. The coatings of eyes actually magnify the size of the treasure, making it look bigger, which is the reason why they do it. Lastly, white dragons hate talking, and it'll take a lot of convincing to make a white dragon actually speak. All they want to do is hunt, eat, and collect treasure. Any form of energy that they spend not doing those things is a serious waste of time in their eyes. But if you...
Oh my god, think of a melt-away trap. The ice melts as you try to get the treasure, and bam, trap. Yep. Oh man, okay. Thinking about that light trap, like, you go into a dragon's den, right? The white dragon's den, right? The dragon's napping. He's just vibing, okay? So there are no lights on in the entire place. There are probably some kobolds kind of scurrying about, trying to be as quiet as possible. Because if they make too much of a sound, they'll wake the dragon up, and he'll be pissed. So all these goblins are sneaking. Not goblins, kobolds. All these kobolds are just sneaking everywhere. Okay? And it is pitch black. You try to turn on a light spell, and it lights up the entire cave. It won't affect the dragon. He won't give a shit about that, because, he's immune to light blindness anyway, and two, he's asleep. He doesn't fucking care about that shit. But all the kobolds will know what's going on, and they are in a panic to come and stop you. So they come out not to attack you, but to be like, stop it, stop what you're doing, turn that thing off, no, you're going to make too much noise, stop it. And then they're like, oh, they put out the light, and then they're like, if you want to walk around, that's fine, don't touch anything, you'll be found out instantly, I promise you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in like a year, he's coming for your ass. They're like, okay, can we use this? And they pull out a torch. The kobolds are like, be my guest in a big ice cavern. Use fire. That sounds smart. Use the torch, start walking around, and things are just melting around them. So it's a water trap, it's an ice trap, it's literally a light trap. You use any light in any form, you're blind. You don't use light, you're blind. You use dim light, you're melting the walls and starting to get drowned. It'd be rough.
Do manage to get one talking, we all know how difficult it is for a white dragon to be bribed. See, the trick is to hope that the white dragon is old enough to understand the idea of a promise, and promise it more meat and more treasure than what you're currently carrying if you're allowed to live. Of course, it is a huge gamble, but it is the best you've got. It is recorded as typically the only way to make any form of deal with a white dragon.
And you can't be like, hey, if you let me live, I promise I'll get you, I'll come and bring you back, like, an entire whale. Okay? You can't do that. Because the dragon will be like, what's a whale? It's this really, really big aquatic creature. Oh, I haven't had seafood before. Sure. Where's this whale? It's over there. Cool. Now I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to go and fight this whale. Okay? Bye. You have to be like, look. If you don't kill me if you don't kill me now, I will show you to something that will give you a proper challenge. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to bait them with.
Never offer a white dragon anything that you're wearing or anything that you're carrying, but something that you will bring it to it in the future. Though, of course, try not to offend it by not actually giving it the treasure, because you will very well know any slight you do to a white dragon, they will never forget. Now, before I go, do keep in mind that, like with any dragon, they all have their own personality, and that personality could very well be completely different from much of what I have discussed today. This, I would say, should play out for most white dragons, but especially with legendary ancient dragons, those tend to be fairly unique from most others. I remember from the lore a white dragon that loved to talk, which is not something normally seen with this race. And also in a 5th edition official campaign, which I don't want to say for spoilers, we were presented with a couple of white dragons who were forced to submit by someone kidnapping and threatening their eggs. So generally you might see a wide range of personalities within these creatures, which happens a lot with intelligent.
Yeah, these are rules, and rules are meant to be broken. However, keep them in mind for like generalized fights or generalized situations, so that if your players are like specialized in those situations, you can be like, typically, white dragons are terrible parents. You cannot threaten them with their children. They don't give a shit. Typically, dragons prefer the hunt. Give them something to hunt. Give them something shiny. That's what they care about. And then that's suddenly something where your adventurers or your party can actually be like, okay, cool, I can work with that. And then you can be like, typically, you know that white dragons aren't big talkers, but this one won't shut the fuck up. It is monologuing to hell and back.
Monsters. Generally speaking, the more life experience and the more study a white dragon goes through, the less animalistic it should become. I would like to personally thank my patron supporters, Rukato Fan, Major Fail Gaming, Wyatt Curlin, Barry Maskant, Toby Oliver, Dylan Baker, Zach Bowell, Spencer Boak, Casey Butler, and Meaty Ogre at Best for supporting me on Patreon at the $25 level. If you would like to support me as well, then please head on over to patreon.com/MrRex to support. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We have finished every single dragon, at least true dragon, in the monster manual, but there are more. I do want to cover, I think we're going to be doing the dragon turtle next. I want to do the fairy dragon. I want to do the wyvern. I want to just cover dragons in general. And just because these are not true dragons doesn't mean that they're not dragons. And I do want to cover them and see what craziness we can find from them. Why? Because there is a particular piece of lore from 2nd edition that talks about evolution and what dragon came out of which sort of split in the evolutionary tree, and that is just really interesting, and I want to cover that. But first, I want to go through all of these other dragons that are dragons, just, you know, not the true ones, but they still count. So let's have fun. Let's go and do them as well. And I want you guys to get hyped for it. That's it. That's all I want to say.
Once again, everybody, make sure you go and support Mr. Rex if you haven't already. The link to the video is in the pinned comment. It's going to be up there until the end of stream today, because we're going to be continuing with some white dragon information, but not in this kind. In this kind. What's it? Oh. I closed the video game tab. There we go. In this kind. We're going to draw ourselves a white dragon. We're going to draw a big, hunky white dragon, okay? And we're going to try to keep in mind all the little tidbits that we learned about it, okay? But we're going to draw it We're going to draw it a little differently, okay?